Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of AndersMillknits podcast. I'm Emily, your host, and Watson is down here with you, so don't worry, he's still here. Welcome back to my living room. This is episode 11, and if you're first joining us for the first time, that was an awkward sentence, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by and spending some of your hard-earned time with us. With me and Watson, by the way, that's the us. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. You guys mean a lot to me. I love communicating with you guys. Now, I haven't done a good job of it the last week or so, and we'll get into that, but you guys are really precious to me, and I appreciate that. You can find me on Ravelry as AKA Millie, and on Instagram is AKA Millie907. And you can find us on the web, the blog post on, let's see, how do we do this? I think it's wordpress.com/AndersMillknits. No, I don't know. And it's gonna change because this week I am getting my own site, period, end of statement. I actually had one yesterday and I canceled it because I felt like I was click happy and I didn't do enough research, and so I went back and learned that I could cancel it within 48 hours of first doing it, and so I did it, and I was just like, okay. But now I've also signed me up for archive.org, so you can find AndersMillknits at least the last episode on archive.org. I'm going to be uploading all the others. And hopefully by the end of this week, you'll also see us on iTunes. But that's still in the works. That's why I have to get my own website in order to make that happen. So there's all the places you can find me right now. Still no Facebook page. I'm kind of in that stage right now where I'm ignoring Facebook for many of the same reasons that everybody else is. I just don't feel comfortable getting in the middle of a bunch of political debates, and so I'm just gonna keep things to myself. I'll talk to my husband if I want to talk to somebody about things, but otherwise I'm just kind of keeping quiet. So let's see, why don't we go straight into reviewing notes, i.e. the last few weeks. So the last time I saw you, I told you that my guy was going to take me to the library in downtown Portland the next day, and he did. And we had a fantastic time. We spent like 3 or 4 hours there, just going from room to room, from floor to floor, investigating all this different kinds of things and looking up stuff. I got a couple books, knitting obviously. I was going to get a couple psychology books, or like self-help type books, but I kind of held off on that. I'm not really sure why I did that. There was one in particular that I really wanted to look at. It's about the emotion of loneliness and how that interplays with our cognitive ability, our behaviors, and our ability to interact with others around us and stuff. And so I was very interested in that. But anyway, I left it there for now. Because right now I'm studying codependency. I've got books on that. And, in fact, I even went so far as to get this. I really like this author, Darlene Lancer. She is a marriage and family counselor, and she actually has a couple books out, most of them on self-esteem and things like that. And codependency seems to be coming up a lot in both my personal life and my professional life, and so I just decided to start studying it a little bit more seriously. So there you go. And that's what, never mind, I'm not going to get into it, never mind. So we spent the afternoon there, and my husband kind of laughed at me because at one point I was taking pictures of the floor, because the floor was even amazing to me. I didn't get this one picture that I really wanted of the stairs, the main staircase leading up to the other floors. They had all these beautiful etchings of these different flora and fauna playing with each other, just frolicking, and it was just so intricate and yet at the same time simple in its beauty and construction, and yet you could see that whoever made it found a lot of joy doing that. But the problem was that there was always too many people on the stairs, and so I could never seem to get a clearer shot. So that didn't happen. And then that night we went out to dinner at a place, I forgot what it's called. I always forget what it's called. The cafe, I think, down in downtown Portland. I really like them. They are one of the few places that have poutine on their menu regularly, and I love poutine. And I can't seem to make it at home. I don't know how to do it. So we had that, and that was really amazing. Then my husband drove me over the tallest bridge in the Portland area, the St. John's Bridge, which is also one of the longest, I believe. And I have a fear of bridges. Pretty debilitating at times. I can oftentimes drive over them, okay, but if I'm a passenger, I have a panic attack. And so we did that. So we've been doing it both at nighttime and going over bridges, and so I've been practicing on my breathing techniques and keeping my eyes open, and I was successful. I kept my eyes open the whole time. I even looked around. I even took a video, so I'll probably put that in at the end, even though you can't really tell what the heck's going on. So we did that, and then the next day we did my honey-do lists, cleaning out the fireplace, hanging some curtains that I bought back in November, and that kind of thing. And then the week was as normal until we hit this last Friday, a week ago Friday. And I had, in the morning, there was freezing rain out, and so my husband stayed home from work, and just like pretty much everybody did, there was no school, no nothing. And I was getting settled in to start my work in the office, and all of a sudden I felt really strange. Like my hands started shaking, and I felt like I was swaying, but I don't think I was. And I kept on seeing black spots, and I felt nauseous, and I thought I was going to throw up, so I was getting up to go to the bathroom to do that, and I fell over. And so my husband came rushing in and was like, okay, what's going on? So he had to take my blood sugar levels because I was shaking too much that I couldn't do it. Ironically, they were fine, and we couldn't figure out what was going on, so he helped me to bed, and then he called the advice nurse for Kaiser, and she informed us that he needed to get me into to see the doctor ASAP. So we did. We spent most of that day, about 4 or 5 hours after that, at the doctor's, and then they couldn't find anything truly wrong. We even had an EKG. I did so many tests, and they even sent me home with a stool sample test to see. And long and the short of it is they were flummoxed. They don't know what happened. So they sent me home to rest, and so I pretty much slept for about 11 hours. 11 hours. And then the next day I woke up and I did something. We'll talk about this in a minute. I spent the rest of the day doing that. And then Sunday came around, and that was the Super Bowl, and everything was going great. And then I had another mini episode, and I was just off all day. I just couldn't figure it out. So they had me back in on Monday again. But anyway, that Sunday was really great in that we were home, and I got to rest with my people. Yes. And I mended some pants for my guys, some work pants. I made myself a couple things that I've been meaning to on my sewing machine. I did a lot of mending. I skeined up a whole bunch of little mini skeins. I completed some projects. Yeah, so it was really, really good. I had even though I was a little sick and off, it was still really good. So, and then this week has just been haywire with work. Just absolutely haywire. I don't even know how I got through it, but I did, and I'm back. So that's pretty much what went on. So why don't we go into case notes? So I guess let's do this. Stop it and restart it, huh? Okay. So let's do some case notes, shall we? Well, the one thing that I truly got done this last week, which was my goal, is this. It's my sweater, and it's really, really big. I've lost a lot of weight. I started this 3 years ago. I'm sorry. I put it on last minute, and I was wearing a dress, and so I had my leggings on. But, let's try not to show things off. But, so that's some of the lace work and the rib work, which is so beautiful. And it's repeated on the back. Oh, I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, it's repeated on the back. But I think, let's see. Yeah. What is this, like 4 or 5 inches of positive ease? Because I've lost so much weight, but I actually really like it. I mean, because it's fitting me really well in the shoulders, and I love the cleavage part, because who doesn't love to show off that area? Well, I mean, I know there's people who don't. And honestly, it feels like really nice and flowing. The sleeves are nice and big. They're rather like dolman sleeves, and they're meant to be that way. And so it just feels really kind of graceful, honestly, in a strange way. The yarn is a more rustic Cascade 220 yarn, but it's not 220. It's their light fingering weight. It's a 2-ply. And I did it in 2 colors. I did it in the maroon, and then I did it in the like olivey green. And my best friend teased me that it looked very Christmassy. So just to make the Christmassy less apparent, I made the sleeves, the garter ridge, the same color, the green, instead of the maroon like I was going to. So what did I have to do to finish this? So I had to knit 1 whole sleeve. Then I had to block all the pieces separately because they were flat and everything was knit flat. Then I had to sew them all together and then knit the collar. Bubba, no, you're gonna stay, okay? Because I know you. You're gonna go barking at something. So I had to knit the collar, and the collar is the last thing I had to do, and that I did during the Super Bowl, and it was done in like a half an hour. But the seaming of everything took me all of Saturday afternoon. Let's see, I woke up finally from my 11 hours sleeping at about 11:30 in the morning, which I can't remember the last time I slept that late. And then I ate lunch, took my medicine, and I just was like, okay, well, the doctors told me to rest, so it's a perfect opportunity. So I picked these up off of the floor where they were drying and just started cracking away at it. And it took me until about 6 or 7 at night, seaming everything up. Everything. So, but I really like that, especially the shoulder seams. I feel like everything came out wonderfully, and I actually used the suggestions, especially on the sleeves, of the Fruity Knitting podcast. I forget who their hosts are, I'm sorry, but I watch them on occasion, and I really, really like their podcast. It's quite professional and everything. And she had a tutorial. She likes to knit things flat, and she had a tutorial about seaming things up, and I used her suggestions to do that. So it was really good. I will say that along the way, knitting the last sleeve, I purl differently than normal people do. I actually use my middle finger to move the yarn in a purl stitch, and this finger that's holding the yarn always stays up, but this one moves the yarn down. And I was noticing I had this cramping, aching feeling going from my middle finger all the way up to my elbow. And I just was like, oh my gosh. And my husband's like, oh, that's like a sign of he didn't say tendinitis. Whatever that is, it's not tennis elbow, it's, you know, when you play I played the violin, and I can't remember what it's called. So anyway, I was determined to get this done. So I just taught myself a new way of doing the purls. At first I switched it to this hand, trying to figure out the throwing method of purling, and I just couldn't keep my tension well. So instead, I stuck with the continental style, but I wrapped the yarn differently. Here, I'll show you. Oops, lost something. Okay, so here's my Finding Fade. So I would wrap it around my pinky. Whoops. Wrap it around my pinky, right? Then I would carry the yarn on the outside and over this finger, my pointer finger. And then this way it was easier for me to wrap my finger around and push it down. And sometimes I would lift my finger up to keep the tension. And that worked really well. And literally not a single twinge after I figured that out. Now, it is having me, I'm teaching myself a new way of knitting at the moment, so it is kind of a struggle to remember sometimes. And it's just only slightly different from my old way. So it can be kind of challenging to remember if I'm doing things right or wrong. But I really, really like it. I'm using it right now on my Fish Lips Kiss heel for the socks that I'm working on, and I'll show you that in just a little while. But so that's my Lewis sweater, and I don't know what I'm going to call it for me. I feel kind of hippie-ish. So maybe I'll call it that. And then the other thing that I finished, now this is just hodgepodgey, threw it together in literally 10 minutes, but I've been meaning to make these things, and I didn't even stuff them well. I was just trying something out. I didn't even know if it was going to work, and so I didn't really care. But I have problems when I sleep. My lumbar hurts a lot, and it doesn't seem to matter what bed I'm in. It always hurts. It's for years. And I've had this idea in my mind that if I could just prop just where my hip meets my back up, just a smidge while I'm sleeping, that I wouldn't have that problem. And then recently with this new job, I have the company car a lot, and I noticed that the driver's seat is tilted up a little bit, so that so here's my bum, and my legs are coming up and down, but this hurts my bad leg because of where it's pressing against the underside of my bad leg. And so by the end of the night of me driving, especially when I'm going on my long drives to see clients out on the coast, by the end of the day, my limp is bad, my leg is on fire, and it's horrible. So I've been testing different things out. I've been taking different pillows from around the house and putting them underneath my bum to try and push me up, but they're always just too much. So the thought crossed my mind, since I had my sewing machine out, okay, I've got it out, I've got my scraps of yarn out, why don't I try and find a way to make myself a lumbar pillow and a traveling pillow? So that's what I did. So my first one, it's all squished up and everything and flattened out because I've been using it every night since then. It's perfect. So I just had this sheepy fabric, and I just had this really long piece that was just a salvage edge. And so all I did, this is all I did on both of these pillows. I folded them in half, and I can't even tell you what I had this fabric for or what I used it on. I have no idea. But I folded it in half, seamed up the two sides, and then stuffed it with my stuffing, and then hodgepodged it closed. This is gonna look atrocious to all of you sewers out there, but for me, I just needed it to work, and so I just did not care. So I just folded in the ends and then just zip seamed up the side here so that the stuffing wouldn't fall out. And I've been using this pillow every night underneath my back ever since last Sunday, and I haven't had a single twinge in my back since. It's just, oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, and so I made this one for the company car. Ironically, I haven't used the company car since I made it, so I have no idea if this one works either, but I literally did the exact same thing. In fact, this was the first one I made, and the stuffing is kind of weird and wonky, but I don't care. I really don't care. I don't know that there's a pillow form out there that would fit this, and so I just used regular stuffing, and I was kind of in a hurry, kind of like not really paying attention, so it kind of got a slapshod job. But that's okay. So those are my finished objects, I believe. Okay, so let's get into in session. Like I said, I've only got two things on the needles right now. One is my Find My Fade, and yes, this does look like a man's bikini, you know, banana strap, but yeah, I had to rip this bad boy out completely and start all over because I don't know what it is about the lace section, but it kicked my bottom both times actually that I knit it. And so I fudged it towards the end just to make it work. And I am literally on section 3, I believe it is, where I join in my second color. Yep, I'm literally on just section 3. And the next thing is to join in the next color. Now I changed things around a bit. So this is now going to be the second color. And then this will be the third color. And then this will be the fourth color. And then, well, and then this. Then this, which is the biggest part of the shawl. I love all the different grays and shades in there. And the last skein will be this one, I think. But I leave my priority, the prerogative in place that if I feel like I need to change it, I will. I've got lots of yarn, lots of options, and if I'm not loving something, I'm gonna rip it out and redo it. Because I've already changed the order of things. So this is in my Rose City yarn crawl bag. So there you go. That's what I'm working on. And actually after I finish work this afternoon, I'm gonna work on that some more, I think. Or the socks, because they're also calling my name. But the other thing that I worked on this weekend, my basket is falling. Other thing I worked on is the on the road socks for my stepson, who is coming home from boot camp. He graduated this morning in Georgia, and he's going to be home tomorrow. So that's really exciting. We get to see him tomorrow. And I was hoping to have both socks done for him when he got home, but it didn't happen. So, but I'm turning the heel now. I'm literally, there's no way you can stop in the middle of a fish lips kiss heel and not have it be awkward. So it's just how it is. So what I did was I cast on 64 stitches, stitched for I don't even know how long. I just kind of just went until I felt like it. Put a marker in to denote that I started the heel on this line so that with the second sock I can do that. And then I took 2 stitches from the other half, the non-heel half, the front of the sock, and put it onto the back so that now the heel is going to be deeper and larger to compensate for the high arch. So now there is 34 stitches that I'm working the heel across. And then once I've worked the heel, I'm actually going to decrease down to 60 stitches because he actually has kind of a narrow foot. So that's how that's gonna go. So there we go. And I know I change my mind on it. Oh, every week. So this is knit on my Haya Hayas. I believe these are Haya. No, these aren't Haya Hayas, are they? These are Knit Pro. US 1s. I love these needles. Love them, love them, love them. And yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm not too keen on the yarn on this one, but my stepson picked it out and he really likes it, so that's what I'm going with. It's being housed in one of my AndersMill project bags that unfortunately you cannot get anymore, but this is really handy. I love this. And then just the other day my husband and I were out for a walk and I had it on my wrist and I was just walking along knitting like this, or knitting like this. Just walking along because it holds it perfectly. The yarn stays stable, I can pull out the yarn whenever I want, and so on and so forth. So there you go. Those are the 2 things I'm working on. So I believe we're moving quite quickly into the toolbox. So I was kind of bad this last 2 weeks because I was not feeling good, and I just kind of made... When I'm not feeling good, for some odd reason I shop a lot online. Not a good thing. But it is a good thing for my stash. I got 2 skeins from the Obsessive Crafter. Let's just open it up. I like how she packaged them, but let's see. The Creative Obsession. So one is on her sparkly base, and this one is Date Night. That's the colorway. And it's getting a little washed out. There we go. Let's see, I think that's a little bit truer color. It's got some splotches of black, streaks of dark maroon, dark blood red, and then highlights of little pink. So I got that. And then she also had up on her shop the Will You Be Mine colorway. And I love this one. And the twist is really nice, so I'm thinking I need to do something texturally. And this is subtle enough that I should be able to do something texturally and still see it through the variegation. So, but this has undertones of grayish white with, again, splotches of black, and then splotches of this little nice pink. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. That's it right there. There you go. So, and then with it, she sent me a little stitch marker with a sheep on it, with her business card. And she's on Etsy, and she does bags as well. And let's see. And then she sent me some tea. Oh yeah, she sent me a little travel sample size thing of eucalyptus, and I use that to wash my sweater. So let's see, strawberry pomegranate herbal tea by, who is this by? Stash Premium. I have no idea, but there you go. And the little card that she made says, "Thanks a bunch. Thank you for your purchase of your yarn. I wish you the best in your podcast. Enjoy." Dang, that was nice. So these are now in my stash. I was gonna knit something for Valentine's, but seeing as it's only 3 days away, it's not gonna happen. I spent a lot of time working overtime this week because there was a lot of big projects, and so I didn't work overtime. I just put in a lot of hours. Does that make sense? Working into the night and things like that. So there's that. And then I bought, literally when we were waiting to see the doctor last Friday, my husband said, I was looking at this on Amazon, and my husband's like, "If you want it, buy it." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" So this is because I wasn't even sure if I really wanted it. It's a Law of Attraction planner. So it's by Freedom Mastery, and you go through it, and it's literally, reflect on your month. Okay, it has different sections for everything. You plan out your month just like a normal planner, 8 days and all that, but then it also has at the front of it, it's got charting out what your life goals could be. It's got some affirmations, like this one's affirmations that you can tell yourself, like if you're trying to remind yourself of love, appreciation, and bliss, you can repeat the affirmation: "I love unconditionally and enjoy my life. I let go of all attachments and set myself free. I envision my life in perfect bliss. I love my freedom." And then there's, like, there's a bunch. I didn't read them all, but they're all little one-liners. It helps you plot out your life goals. And then over here, this one is, "I love life ... I love my life ... And you write down why you love your life. Over here is, "I am so grateful for ... And you write down your gratefuls. And this is a grateful goal, personal development, relationship. All of these are goals on what I want specifically and by what date, and you can mark it all up. And then it just takes you through the journey of the next year or so of actually trying to meet those self-improvement goals, and it gives you little exercises to do along the way. So reflect on your month. Was I in harmony? And then you could grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. You can list out the hours of exercise you did, my total expenses, money I saved, self-help, like what did I do for that, time spent with family, fun time, meditation and prayer, new habit, mentors, gratitude, visualization, and feeling good. And you list out all those things. So that's, I will admit I'm a little intimidated by all of it, but I think it's going to be a good thing. I can now take this off. Oh, and I'm going to share something with you. Okay, so if you guys are thinking about getting this, they sent lots of coupons, and they're all the same, so I'm going to let you guys take advantage of this. If you order this coupon from if you order any Law of Attraction planner on Amazon, you can use this code to get 10% off. So it is that code. LAIO, no, LOA10OFF. So it's LOA, Law of Attraction, 10 for 10, and OFF for off. I'm just guessing here, but you probably will want to make sure that you keep the caps lock on. It's probably case sensitive, but there you go. So if any of you want to go and do that, you can get 10% off, which I didn't get, but you know, I'll pass on the good fortune to you. Then, I love Ticket to Ride. It's my favorite game of all time. Ticket to Ride Europe, definitely all-time favorite game. I also really like Ticket to Ride UK, Ticket to Ride Sweden, Germany. Germany's kind of tough and kind of a little annoying at times. I'm not too keen on Ticket to Ride America, but I do love the translated version of Ticket to Ride America into the card game. But this is always super duper expensive. Nobody can ever seem to get their hands on it, and so I happened to be looking on Amazon because I've got it permanently in my cart. I happened to look at Amazon one day, and not only did they have like 8 of them in stock, but it was on a super saver, like deal of the day kind of a thing. So instead of getting it for $100 and something, I got it for $27. So there you go. I used to have this game. I have no idea whatever happened to it. Probably lost it along the moves, but I have it now, so I'm good. I also bought a basket. There you go, from Goodwill. And then the last two things for a toolbox, for me anyway, is I got these 2 books from the library on knitting, and this one's called Knitting in the Old Way, and I actually would really like to get my hands on this to keep for myself, so I'm going to be looking into that. But it is super instructional. The beginning of it goes through the different sweater style constructions, where they all came from and originated from. Did you guys know that there's a very good reason why, well, there isn't really a total good reason, but we do not have, oh here, I'll just read you the passage. So when did the sweater as we know it today first appear? And where? Possibly in the late 17th century, but certainly by the beginning of the 19th century, the sweater, often called a jersey or jumper, and sometimes referred to as a knitted frock in historic records, seems to have spontaneously appeared in many separate cultures and locations in the northern climes. The British Isles, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, but not North America. The oldest example is possibly the Natoroge, a damask brocade blouse of Denmark. Natoroge translates to nightshirt. Apparently this shirt was worn by itself for sleeping and also during the day with a vest-like bodice layered on top. This undergarment of little distinction seems to have been transformed into a glorious expression of creativity, and a new era in knitting folkwear was born. I find it interesting that sweaters evolved from a woman's garment, yet early sweaters were worn almost exclusively by men. Then it goes on to say that Many people believe that it was originated by the Arabians. But the part about why we as Americans do not have this as one of our traditions, I can't seem to find at the moment. But it was pretty much the reason that that while these countries were focusing on, they were established countries, and they were being able to focus on developing this new style of knitwear, we here in America, we were developing our own country, and we were, you know, explorers and well, not real trendsetters, so as it was, but during that same time that the sweater became very popular, we on American soil came out with an equally long-lasting garment called the blue jean. So that is our contribution to garment history. So, but I really love it. It's got all kinds of instructions in here. There's quite a few actually. So it goes into the difference between the different cultures and why some people did some things and why some people did different things. Like fishermen, for instance, their sweaters were pretty much felted because it would be more wind and rain resistant. And she says that there's actually an example of one where you can literally just stand that sweater up on its own. It's so stiff. Whereas other people, they didn't necessarily need it so much for wind resistance, but they needed it for warmth. So they were using more loftier, open yarns, spun yarns, which I believe, isn't that worsted spun? Which would be, she goes into this too. I always get them mixed up. Let's see if I can find it. So, yarn construction. The two basic systems are woolen with worsted. Woolen yarn is made from shorter wool fibers, ranging in length from about 1 inch to 4 inches, that have been spun into a light, fluffy, somewhat fuzzy yarn of randomly arranged fibers. Worsted yarn, on the other hand, is made of longer fibers, typically at least 4 inches long, all of the same length, prepared so that they lie parallel to each other and spun into a strong, smooth, dense yarn. So I actually had it backwards. So if you were looking for more warmth and didn't necessarily need it to be wind resistant and water resistant so much, you knit it with the lighter, airier worsted weight spun, and woolen spun. I'm getting it, and at a larger gauge, because then of course the fibers would expand and fill in the empty spots with their fluffiness. So you have a lot more warmth. Does that make sense? So anyway, this is quite interesting. This is my bedtime knitting right now. Unfortunately, I'm on a new medication that's making me fall asleep, like about 10 minutes after I take the medication, so I only get like 3 or 4 pages before I conk out. And to tell you the truth, I haven't even cracked this bad boy open. But look at the back. Isn't that amazing? By that way, that's the author, and that's a woman. I don't want to be rude or anything, but I thought it was a man. But it goes into a bunch of, it's the same kind of concept behind knitting in the old way, only it's applied to Fair Isle knitting instead of ganzes or jerseys. So, but I just, first off, I love her hair. But second off, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Ugh, I want to knit everything in here. I love Fair Isle. So that's it for me. I need to take a little swig. So that's it for me in my toolbox, but let's talk about you guys and your toolbox. So the Double Dip Cal for January is now closed. I locked it just a few minutes before I came in to record. I know it's late, but I figured whatever. And I left it open. There were 24 entrants, And right before I recorded, I pushed generate on my computer on random.org. Let's see if you guys can see that. So 2 through 24, and it came up with 20. And the winner of that is a new member to our group, or at least a new contributor to the contest, and that is Catman and Robin. And that is, so that's post number 20, and that is Faith, and you live in Washington. So Faith, congratulations. I'm so glad that you won. I love it that new people are coming in and contributing. I am so excited. And you have a lot of really good links, especially in the February knit along. Guys, go and look. She's got us going on here. Of course, you know, Hot Pink Socks and Avita, you guys both got us going on too. You guys got us well covered. But just remember, you can still post that you're participating in a CAL, even if somebody else has already posted that they're participating in that same CAL, okay? Doesn't matter. That's the whole reason for the Double Dip CAL. Just make sure you have that link in there. So, Faith, if you get in touch with me, I'll mail this out to you in Washington. So it should, you know, you're just over the river, so hopefully you'll get that soon. Now, I've got some scrumptious, luscious stuff for February. I've been saving this one for a long time. I've never knit with it. I love the color. I hate single ply. This one's a little overspun, but with single ply, that's probably a good thing. You can see a little bit of the kinkiness. See it there? This is from Wool Sunday Yarn Parlor, and I can't seem to find them anymore online, so I'm thinking they must be defunct. And this is called the Emerald Forest colorway. And this is for the month of February. So enter in to win, guys. You must be a member of the group to enter in, and you must post a active link to a knit along that is happening somewhere else. So for instance, right now it's Curious Handmade, her snow melt knit along. And there's a bunch of others. There's the knit along in Downseller Studio. I think that one must have just finished up about the football one. So, you know, maybe we're in between there. I'm not sure. And there's just a lot going on. There's New Year, New You from... Oh my gosh, I can't remember. See, this is why I started the thread, because I can't remember. So, but enter to win, guys. And if you have that, if it's an active CAL and you have an active link and you can show me that, show all of us that you're actively working on this project, you can't just show us the skein of yarn that you're going to be using for it. You actually have to show it in progress or finished. Then you could be entered to win this skein for February. And I think that takes us to the end of our show, of our episode. I was going to talk to you a little bit about codependency and about how that's going to be my intentional focus for the month of February. However, I think I'm going to leave it for now. I think I need to think about it a little bit more and come to a greater understanding of it, not just for my clients, but for myself. Everyone is codependent, whether you're codependent on a product, whether it be drugs, alcohol, TV, sugar, exercise, or codependent on others in order to define you. So for instance, I'm a healer. What would I be if I wasn't a healer? Because I look outside of myself to help others fix their lives, right? Fix their lives and fix the problems. And the first thing that I want to do whenever I see someone hurting is reach out and help and heal, right? So how would I define Emily if that was not there? So this is a new area of study just within the last 10 years that they've been coming up with, because codependency has not always, the last 100 years or so, has been linked to like a spouse being codependent on the other partner who was addicted to, say, drugs or alcohol. And so they dedicate their entire life to saving that partner, and to save them from themselves, and to try and fix their problem of being dependent on alcohol. And we know now that alcoholism and drug addiction is actually a disease, not just a choice. But it works in tandem there. So they used to just define it in those terms, and now it's more open. It's more encompassing. Codependency can be found everywhere, in everything. Watson is very codependent on me, and honestly, I'm very codependent on Watson for comfort and security, both ways. My husband has been noting that Watson just always gravitates to me no matter what. No matter if we're in bed, sitting on the couch, if I leave him home with my husband, like I did this morning to go interview a client, my dog will sit at the door and just wait for me to come home. And that's where he'll be until I get home. And he's dependent on me. Sorry, he doesn't want to be lifted up right now. Watson and I meet our eyes quite a lot. We do a lot of eye contact, and we communicate a lot that way. So he's very in tune with my facial features. So if I look upset and I make eye contact with him, Watson thinks that I'm upset with him. And sometimes he's right and sometimes he's wrong. But if I'm happy and I make eye contact with him, then of course he's very happy, and he'll usually like pounce and come running over and start playing with me. If I look him in the eye and smile, he gets really excited. So those are a couple forms of codependency, and I've got a lot of notes, a lot of thinking to do, a lot of contemplation / studying before I really make, even though I'm sitting here doing it already, but a proclamation of what that is. So at some point during this month, hopefully, I will come back to you and tell you about what codependency means to me. Okay? Holy crap! I forgot to tell you something! My husband surprised me for Valentine's Day, which is this coming Tuesday. I'm going to Madrona up in Tacoma. So he booked us a hotel room, and he's taking me up there. He made the excuse that it's we have to go see one of my banks up there to get my name changed. It's an Alaskan bank, and they happen to have one branch in Seattle. So we need to physically go there and get my name changed. And so he made the excuse that, well, we're killing two birds with one stone kind of thing. We're gonna get your name taken care of, and you can go to this fiber festival, and it'll be great. And I'm like, right, that's really what it is. You just wanted to do it because you know that I've been hinting, oh so subtly, that I want to go super duper bad. So here we are, we're going. So if anybody is going to be up there at Madrona on the 18th, I want to say, the Saturday, PM me on Ravelry and let me know so that I can say howdy do. I'm only going to the market. I'm not taking any classes because I didn't know that I was going to get to do this. So, and ironically, I have some money set aside to do it. I've only got a little over $100, but you know, that'll buy me some nice pieces of yarn to bring back and love on for a while before I finally cast it on. And it will tear my heart out to break open that skein, but each time I do it, and I just know that it's going to grow up and be something absolutely beautiful. Case in point. Even though it's humongous on me. Oh. Anyway, well, thank you all for joining Watson and me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a good, lovely 2 weeks. If trials come your way, I hope you remember that you are worth so much and that people love and adore you. And take care of yourself. Okay, knit with love, everybody. Bye.